Hello, this is Clean Coach Carly. I'm the staff nutritionist at Healthy Habits Living, and I'm answering my most frequently asked questions about CuraMed. Now, CuraMed is a patented form of curcumin extract that is 95% absorbable and bioavailable, and is backed up by numerous medical studies, including ones that have compared this to other curcumin products that are available on the market. So first of all, what is curcumin? That is my number one question that I get asked. And how is it different than turmeric? Turmeric is a spice that you can buy in powdered form in the grocery store. It's popular in traditional Indian cooking, and it's what makes curry bright yellow. That's turmeric. It's a root that grows in the ground. It has finger-like roots that look a lot like ginger. In fact, they're in the same plant family. So turmeric is a root, it's a spice, and it is something that you can buy at the grocery store. Now, if you want curcumin, that is an extract that is taken out of the turmeric root. So you can't just go buy that in the grocery store unless you're buying a whole turmeric root. But curcumin is the powerful anti-inflammatory extract that is taken out of turmeric root. So if you want curcumin, you need to buy it in the supplement aisle or from a high quality online store like Healthy Habits Living. What you want to avoid is buying a supplement that just says ground turmeric root, because you can get that in the spice aisle. When you're buying a supplement, you want to look for something that is a standardized extract of curcumin. So you want it to say curcumin, standardized extract, and I recommend the one that is 95% extract, and that is available in the Terry Naturally CuraMed products and CuraMed products. You also, when you're looking for a supplement, want to make sure that it is absorbable. Curcumin is not very absorbable. It is fat soluble, which means it has to be with fat in order to be digested in your body. So you want to look for something that is mixed with a fat or emulsified with a fat. CuraMed is emulsified with a fat, and it includes curcumin and curcuminoids and turmerones. So that's something else to look for when you're looking for a high quality curcumin supplement. The other questions that I get are, what are the side effects of curcumin? The only side effects that I'm aware of are when you take it at very high doses on an empty stomach. So I recommend that you don't do either of those. Now, when you take it on an empty stomach, especially if it's emulsified with a fat, like the ones in Terry Naturally, you can get an upset stomach. Just like if you drink olive oil on an empty stomach, it wouldn't make your stomach feel very good because you're not initiating the digestive process because you're not chewing anything. So if you take it at high doses, you'll want to take it with food. And I recommend that everybody take it with food for best absorption. The other side effects are all positive, and they pale in comparison to what you deal with NSAIDs. Now, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories that you can get over the counter or by prescription, they have the same effect as curcumin, that is to reduce inflammation. However, with NSAIDs, you're getting side effects that start with mouth ulcerations, liver problems, digestive issues, H. pylori, ulcers, and the list goes on. So I recommend avoiding NSAIDs when you can and choosing something that is more natural. I always recommend starting with curcumin, high dose curcumin. The next question I get is, how much should I take? CuraMed is 750 milligrams per capsule. So most studies show, and there's around 3,000 to 5,000 medical studies on curcumin, so it's very well studied. Most studies show that the minimal dose is 500 milligrams. So I don't recommend that you take anything lower than that if you are trying to address a symptom, if you have aches or pains or a condition that is associated with a lot of inflammation. Some studies show that for depression, say you want to take around 8,000 milligrams per day, which is 8 grams. So whatever the case is, you can take between 18 and 13 grams, so that's 8,000 and 13,000 milligrams without having adverse side effects. This has been proven in the medical literature. So start with 750 milligrams and increase as needed based on your symptoms. Another question I get is, why take black pepper along with curcumin? Well, you don't have to take it along with curcumin. There are some studies that show that it will increase the absorption of the curcumin. However, there's also studies that show that black pepper or piperine is a gut irritant and can cause irritation throughout the gut lining and decrease absorption of curcumin and other nutrients. So I recommend taking something that's bioavailable by itself, which would be a standardized extract and something that is emulsified with a fat that includes turmerones and curcuminoids. So I skip the black pepper when I take curcumin. The next question I often get is, how long will it take to see results? Well, it depends on what kind of inflammation or pain or symptoms that you're dealing with and really how long you've been experiencing that. I often recommend CuraMed for a headache, which usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes to digest, absorb, and reduce some of the effects of a headache. But if you're dealing with joint pain or arthritis, it's usually going to take about 2 weeks up to 6 weeks to determine if you're getting a high enough dose to reduce the inflammation and the pain you're experiencing. So at least 2 weeks for something that is involved with systemic inflammation. Another question I often get is, does this interact with any medications? Yes, curcumin, especially at higher doses, can interact with blood thinners and with chemotherapy. Also, you want to check with your doctor if you have any gallbladder problems or kidney issues. So depending on dose of the curcumin, it can interact with those conditions as well. The next question I get is, should I take it with food? Which I already answered, yes, you should. Most supplements I recommend that you take with food so that you activate your digestive process and juices in order to absorb the nutrients that you're taking in your supplements. Does this help with joint pain and arthritis? Yes, it does. I recommend starting at 750 2 to 3 times per day. So that's 750 milligrams 2 to 3 times per day and giving it at least 2 weeks to see if the joint pain and inflammation is decreased. A lot of times when we decrease inflammation, pain signals naturally go away because the nerves and muscle tissues are not as swollen as affected. And the last question is, does this help with inflammation? Yes, it does. We know that most conditions, if not all diagnoses and conditions, have an inflammatory aspect to them. Even diabetes, which we know is about our blood sugar, can cause inflammation because of high insulin. So yes, it helps with inflammation. It helps with systemic inflammation. And so I recommend taking it as a prevention at a low dose, maybe 500 milligrams or 750 milligrams, and then up from there if you are trying to address different symptoms. So these are my frequently asked questions with CuraMed, which is 750 milligrams of BCM 95 standardized extract curcumin. And this is the type of curcumin that is emulsified with a healthy fat to help with absorption. And it also includes a full spectrum of turmerones and curcuminoids. And this is what I recommend for CuraMed products. Here at Healthy Habits Living, we are always here to provide you with the best information about science-backed supplements and wellness solutions. We are here to help you get healthy so that you can stay healthy and be healthy.